There's a quiet moment when you scroll past their profile and see them hand in hand with someone new. They're smiling, posting photos, writing captions drenched in sweetness as if they've finally stepped into some pure fairy tale love. And in that moment, a painful question slices through you. Was I ever real to them? And is this new person everything I couldn't be? Don't fall for it. Don't let it break you. Because if you truly understood the psychology of a narcissist, you'd know no one ever truly gets loved, not even the new supply. They don't love this person more than they loved you. In fact, what they're doing now is simply rerunning the same old performance just with a new actor, a new stage, and the same recycled tragedy. Today we're going to uncover a truth most people aren't ready to face. The narcissist will eventually hate the new supply too. Not because that person is worse than you, but because to a narcissist everyone is just a tool. And tools, once broken or boring, are tossed aside without a second thought. But here's what they didn't expect. You, the one they discarded, have awakened. You are no longer their supply. You have become the mirror that reflects back the emptiness they carry inside. And that is what they hate the most. So if you've ever sat there wondering, maybe the new person is happier than I ever was, this video is here to end that illusion. We're not here to mock them. We're not here to pity them. We're here to analyze with clarity, not bitterness, exactly why the narcissist will end up damaging the new person the same way they damaged you. Make sure to subscribe if you find value in this channel, because this isn't just about narcissistic abuse. It's about reclaiming your voice, your truth, and your power. Reason 1. The replacement is never the chosen one. There's a truth that those who've walked away from a narcissist eventually come to see the new person the narcissist flaunts is not their true love, just a replacement, nothing more. And because this person is merely a replacement, not someone chosen from the heart, they will eventually suffer what you once did. Perhaps even worse. On the surface, the narcissist may appear to be living their best life. They post pictures, show affection, and write romantic captions that suggest they're in an ideal relationship. But make no mistake, it's all staged. For one reason, to make sure you see it. This is strategy, not love. If you understand the narcissist's love-bombing phase, you know that the beginning of every relationship with them is overwhelmingly intense. They know how to make their target feel special, wanted, and adored like never before. But that phase is nothing more than bait, a psychological trap designed to hook their victim emotionally. You've lived through it, haven't you? And now they're recycling that exact formula with the new supply. But here's what you must understand. Because the new person watched you being devalued, manipulated, and broken down, the narcissist will never respect them. In fact, they look down on the new supply because that person was easy to manipulate. Because they willingly entered a relationship with someone cruel even after witnessing your suffering. In the narcissist's twisted mind, that means this person is even weaker than the last. And weakness is meant to be controlled. Before long, the new person will begin to feel suffocated, confused. They won't understand why the affection vanished, why the warmth turned cold, why they suddenly feel like a stranger in their own relationship, just like you did. And it could get even worse because this time the narcissist feels entitled to be cruel. There's no more need to hide, no more pretense. After all, the new supply participated in the fall of the last. So don't ever think you've been replaced in the narcissist's heart. In truth, that space never existed. With them, everyone is a role to be played. And once that role is exhausted, they simply cast someone else. The irony. The closer you get to a narcissist, the further you feel from love. Because love in their world does not exist. Only emptiness, illusions, and repetition. But there's one powerful truth: you broke free. You stepped out of the emotional chess game. You stopped being a pawn in their performance. And that is the real victory. Reason 2. When the performance ends, the stage collapses. Here's the truth: the narcissist doesn't love the new person. They're simply continuing a role, the same one they once played with you. And like every performance, eventually the curtain falls. You've been there. You know what it feels like when the compliments fade, when the adoring looks turn cold, and when love becomes a weapon of control. So please understand that will happen to the new supply. It's only a matter of time. And ironically, in the mind of a narcissist, the new person is never an upgrade. They're a replacement. And that very fact makes the narcissist feel contempt rather than affection. Maybe this person was once in the shadows, just a friend, they said, but now that they've stepped into the light, the thrill of secrecy is gone. The narcissist will begin training the new supply the same way they trained you through control criticism and psychological games. Because they don't seek a partner, they seek dominance. They don't want love. They want emotional obedience, someone they can manipulate, someone who fears losing them. And here's the disturbing part. The new person might be even more vulnerable than you realize. Why? Because if they knew about your pain and still chose to stay, then they've already compromised their self-respect. And the narcissist, ever attuned to weakness, sees that as an unforgivable flaw. That's when the cycle begins. The senseless arguments, the silent treatments, the sweetly poisoned criticisms. The new supply will slowly begin to unravel, confused, exhausted, and desperate, just like you once were. And if they once mocked your suffering, they will now taste it threefold. Not because you wished it on them, but because that's how the narcissist operates. It's the nature of the beast. And when that happens, what will the narcissist do? They'll come looking for you. Not because they miss you, but because you were once their premium supply. You were the one who made them feel powerful, admired, adored. The new person who was only meant to trigger your jealousy is now boring, difficult, or broken. This is when they initiate the hoovering, the texts, the nostalgia, the apologies, the fake self-awareness. But you must remember, if you go back, it will only be a different act in the same play. So, hold your boundaries. Don't look at the new supply with envy. Look with compassion. Because they're not better than you. They're just standing where you once stood in the path of a storm they don't yet understand. Reason 3. The new supply reflects the narcissist's worst parts back at them. There's an uncomfortable truth that's rarely discussed. Narcissists despise being truly seen. They carefully craft an external image to mask their internal chaos, a festering shame, deep insecurity, and an ever-present sense of worthlessness. So when they choose a new supply, someone easily controlled, submissive, and with low self-esteem, they think they've found the perfect target. But ironically, these very qualities become a mirror, reflecting back everything the narcissist loathes about themselves. Imagine someone running from their own shadow. No matter how far they go, the shadow follows. Narcissists often pick partners who lack strong boundaries, self-respect, or emotional independence. At first, this makes the narcissist feel powerful. But eventually, they begin to despise that person because, whether consciously or not, that person reminds them of who they really are inside, weak, dependent, and hollow. They can't love the new supply because love requires respect. And how can they respect someone who displays the very traits they secretly detest in themselves? There's no room for authentic love in contempt. The closer they grow to this new person, the more their own repressed self comes to the surface. This leads to a familiar cycle. The narcissist begins to devalue the new supply. They start undermining them emotionally, manipulating them, perhaps even humiliating them. But no matter how much they belittle the other person, it never fills the void. Because the real target of their hatred isn't the supply, it's themselves. The presence of the new supply is like a mirror exposing everything they wish to hide: their insecurity, self-absorption, fear of abandonment, and deep self-loathing. Many former new supplies describe the experience as being sucked into a psychological black hole. It starts with excessive flattery and intense affection, but that quickly morphs into emotional punishment and mental games. Because when the new supply stops making the narcissist feel special, they become a reminder of the narcissist's internal rot. And that disgust, that visceral rejection, isn't just toward the other person, it's toward what they symbolize. This is why narcissists rarely stay in long-term relationships with these new sources of supply. At first they think they've found the perfect victim, but soon enough they grow disgusted by the very qualities that made the person easy to control in the first place, because those qualities reflect the narcissist's own emotional weakness and lack of maturity. The longer they stay, the harder it is for the narcissist to maintain their delusion of superiority. The illusion starts to crack. They feel naked, exposed, and overwhelmed by the shame they tried to bury. And here's the brutal truth: narcissists can't love someone they don't respect. And they can't respect someone who makes them face the parts of themselves they loathe the most. That's why, over time, they don't just devalue the new supply, they detest them. Because the new supply no longer feeds the narcissist's ego. Instead, they shine a harsh light on the narcissist's internal mess. And that's a light the narcissist can't bear. So, if you ever wonder why the narcissist starts treating the new supply with coldness, cruelty, or even hatred, it's not because the new supply failed them. It's because the new supply revealed too much of the narcissist's truth. And in the eyes of a narcissist, nothing is more unforgivable than forcing them to see the one person they've been trying to escape their entire life themselves. Reason 4. A narcissist cannot form deep connections, and that's why they get bored so quickly. One of the most brutal truths about narcissists, one that many victims only realize after much pain, is this: they are incapable of forming deep emotional connections with anyone. They can appear passionate, even intensely in love in the beginning, but it's all a performance, a script they repeat with every new person who enters their lives. And then, like clockwork, the coldness, the irritation, or even outright contempt begins. Not because the other person changed, but because the narcissist never truly bonded in the first place. They don't know how to love with their heart. The new supply may do everything right. They may sacrifice, submit, and cater to every small need of the narcissist. They may shrink themselves just to preserve a relationship they believe is love. But the more they give, the more they fall into a painful trap. What they get in return is not love, not warmth, but emptiness. Narcissists cannot reciprocate genuine emotion. They cannot empathize, and they certainly cannot show up with emotional presence without feeling threatened by the emotional needs of the other person. Closeness makes the narcissist feel unsafe. Real love, the kind that requires vulnerability, transparency, and emotional alignment, is something they fear. As the new supply tries to draw closer, wanting to build a meaningful bond, the narcissist feels smothered. In their eyes, the partner stops being a prize to conquer or a tool to control and becomes a liability, a reminder that they are being asked to provide something they cannot offer: genuine love, honest connection, and an emotionally open self. And once the narcissist begins to feel pressured, even if what's being asked is perfectly normal in a healthy relationship, they start to withdraw. Perhaps they become distant, cold, or irritable. Perhaps they begin looking for another supply, someone easier, someone who asks for less. They may accuse the current partner of being too emotional, too needy, or too much. But the truth is, They are running from their own emptiness, the part of themselves they cannot confront. Here's the bitter irony. The more someone loves a narcissist, the more they want to understand and heal with them, the more the narcissist resents them. Not because that person is doing anything wrong, but because they serve as a painful mirror. A mirror that reflects the narcissist's inability to love, to connect, to be present with an open heart. And that's the tragedy to the narcissist. Being loved deeply feels like a burden. What should make them feel whole and fulfilled instead makes them feel exposed and inadequate. So they run. They sabotage. They push away the very person who truly cares for them, then complain that no one ever loves them right. And so the cycle repeats. In the end, being loved by a narcissist always feels like a performance. The closer you get, the faster they lose interest. The more you give, the more they recoil. Not because your love isn't real, but because they are terrified of it. They do not know what to do with real love, so they destroy it. Reason 5. They blame the new supply for losing you. There's a strange but incredibly common paradox in a narcissist's mind, even when they cheat on you. Betray your trust or discard you for a new supply. They can eventually end up hating that new person because in their distorted logic, the new supply is the reason they lost you. In their fractured worldview, narcissists rarely take responsibility for their actions. Guilt is foreign to them. Instead of reflecting or owning up to their betrayal, they need a scapegoat to preserve their fragile ego. So after you've walked away or rejected their hoovering attempts, their anger no longer targets you. It redirects, and the new supply becomes the one who takes the fall. They start to resent the new supply as the reason they can't get you back, the reason they lost a stable, emotionally rich source of supply. Ironically, the same person they once idealized becomes a symbol of their failure, and the punishment follows coldness, contempt, subtle jabs, open disdain. The love bombing ends. In its place, the new supply is subjected to a confusing and escalating cycle of blame and mistreatment. For the narcissist, love is never about giving, it's about possessing. When they can no longer own you, they don't look inward. They lash outward. And the one closest to them, the new supply, becomes the scapegoat. The person who once represented excitement now becomes the symbol of disappointment, especially if you, the former partner, don't return despite their efforts. The result: the new supply is punished for failing to bring you back. The narcissist may coldly declare, "Things have only gotten worse since I met you," as if the chaos they created was anyone else's fault. If the new supply once witnessed your devaluation or mocked you behind your back, they now face the full weight of what it means to be next in line. So don't envy the new supply. Don't think they've won. In the narcissist's eyes, they are nothing more than the one who made me lose something I didn't value until it was gone. And that something was you. Reason 6. The new supply is not the perfect mirror you once were. One of the key reasons the narcissist was so drawn to you was because you once served as the perfect mirror for them. In you, they saw intelligence, compassion, patience, healing, energy, a reflection of everything they wished they were. They didn't love you in the true sense of the word. What they desired was to possess your light, to bask in your glow, so they could feel as if they too were good, valuable, and admirable. Being next to someone like you made them feel important, even if only by association. But with the new supply, that magic is gone. The new supply, regardless of their physical appeal, willingness to sacrifice, or constant availability, does not radiate the inner light you once did. They lack depth, emotional strength, and the soulful presence that only someone with true love inside can offer. And the narcissist feels this deeply. Quietly but surely, they start to grow bored, disappointed, and even resentful as if they're stuck with a poor imitation. They won't say it out loud, but they know deep down this person cannot help them hide their emptiness the way you once could. The mirror is broken, and the image staring back is one they despise. Narcissists are easily bored, especially when they're no longer being admired with genuine reverence. During the early stages with you, they fed off your encouraging gaze, your thoughtful words, your boundless patience. It all made them feel special. But now those moments are gone. With the new supply, everything feels shallow, repetitive, uninspiring. And like a child bored with a toy that no longer excites them, the narcissist becomes irritable, impatient, and increasingly cruel. They begin blaming the new supply for their own growing emptiness. But the truth is they miss you. They won't admit it, but they are lost without your reflection. They no longer have someone to mirror back the identity they wanted to believe in. They are no longer illuminated by your presence. And when they realize the new supply cannot make them feel good enough like you once did, they begin to unravel. As their sense of control slips, they escalate their toxic behaviors, criticism, stonewalling, emotional punishment, and even more covert manipulation. Here's the painful irony: they thought they would be happier without you, but now they realize they've lost something rare, a light they cannot replicate in anyone else. Eventually, they begin to treat the new supply even worse than they ever treated you. Not because the new supply did anything wrong, but because they failed to keep the narcissist's illusion intact. This disillusionment shows up as sudden mood swings, irrational rage, and impossible expectations. The new supply becomes emotionally exhausted, and a new cycle of emotional abuse is born. The narcissist's mistake becomes evident too late. They thought they were trading up. In reality, they downgraded, and now they're stuck with someone who can't give them what they truly crave, the illusion of being someone better through your reflection. 7. Don't be fooled by their silence. There's one crucial truth you must hold on to: silence does not equal peace. When you see that they've stopped posting new pictures, when they stop talking about the new person, when they seem to go quiet, it does not mean they've moved on or found happiness. No, it means they're watching you. Narcissists have a signature trait: they never truly let go. Even with someone new in their life, they still lurk on your social media, ask mutual friends about you, or scan for subtle signs just to see if you've really forgotten them. Because in their twisted logic, your pain, your memories, your emotional confusion are proof that they still have power over you. If you're silent but emotionally unsettled, they can feel it. If you post a cryptic quote, a vague picture, or a status laced with sadness, they see it. And they smirk. They think I still control their emotions. Do you see the game now? In the narcissist's world, attention is the reward, but genuine detached silence that is the ultimate punishment. That's why, if you truly want to end this toxic cycle, it's not enough to just block them on your phone or social media. You have to block them from your heart and your mind. That's where the real detachment begins. Don't try to prove you're okay. Don't post happy pictures hoping they'll get jealous. Don't wish for their regret. Don't hope they'll miss you. Because every action you take with the intent to make them see something means you're still playing their game. Choose instead to walk away without fanfare. Disappear with dignity, with grace, and in total silence. Let your peace be the thing that drives them mad, because peace is the one thing they cannot manipulate, cannot invade, and cannot destroy. Your peace is their greatest defeat. 8. When the narcissist comes back. Don't be fooled by the apology. One day, just as peace starts to quietly return to your life, they come back. No warning, no real explanation. Just a short message at midnight. I miss you. or a seemingly innocent question. Are you doing okay? And suddenly the entire past comes flooding back like a storm. They might say all the things you once longed to hear. I was wrong. I can't live without you. I've started therapy, and if you have a tender heart, this might confuse you. It might even stir something in you. Part of you still hopes it was real. Maybe they've truly changed. Maybe just maybe this time it will be different. But wake up. Look at facts, not fantasies. This is hoovering, a classic narcissistic tactic to suck you back into the cycle. The term is borrowed from the Hoover vacuum cleaner because they're trying to suck you back into the chaos, into the same manipulation, the same emotional roller coaster, the same control. Why do they come back? Not because of love, not because of regret, but because they lost power over you. And that drives them mad. You were a rich source of supply, someone who gave unconditional love, forgiveness, attention, silence in the face of cruelty. When you disappeared, they lost the emotional fuel that kept their empty ego afloat. They can't stand not having someone to control. They don't come back for you, they come back for them. You must understand, narcissists don't return to repair, they return to restart. The cycle repeats itself. Idealize, devalue, discard. And every time you take them back, they lose a little more respect for you. Every time you forgive them, they become more certain you'll always stay no matter how badly they hurt you. Don't expect real change, because true transformation requires awareness, accountability, and empathy, qualities narcissists deeply lack. They don't want to heal. They want to win. When you go silent, when you stop reacting, when you don't cry, yell, or plead, you've cut off the fuel that feeds them. And that's when they panic. They'll try to reawaken your emotions through old memories, fear, guilt, even compassion. Don't fall for it. They don't need you. They need your emotions. Whether it's love, anger, sadness, fear, it's all supply. And the moment you react, you're back in their game. Ask yourself, how many times did you lose trust in yourself because of them? How many times did you blame yourself for not being enough? How many nights did you cry yourself to sleep? Make this time different. Let your silence be the period at the end of their sentence. Not out of revenge, but because you've grown. Because you're no longer the person who settles for half love, empty promises, and a connection that only existed in illusion. You survived, and you deserve to live, not just exist in doubt and manipulation. So when they come back, remember they don't miss you. They miss the power they had when they were with you, and you now don't need that anymore.